Hi, I'm Mike Stanton. It's November 8th. This is the BAM Weekly Muni Market Update here with David Young from BAM's Capital Markets Desk. David, thanks for being here. This is the week we've all been waiting for, right? We've been talking for months about the uncertainty around the election and the Fed meeting, which overlapped this week. Both of those events happened. How did the market react?
Yeah, so when we look at treasuries after the election on Tuesday night, we saw both treasuries and BVAL the next morning really yields trade higher. Um, when we look at today, treasuries and both BVAL yields, they're actually coming back and you know rallying back and getting back those losses. Treasuries are actually a bit lower than uh, where they started week over week. And then when we look at BVAL, it's actually underperforming a little bit. The shorter end, we're seeing kind of a 1 to 3 basis point cut into the belly of the curve, where in the belly we see it a bit unchanged. And then on the long end, we're actually seeing a 1 basis point bump. But again, that's all underperforming treasuries. Obviously, you mentioned the Fed decision. We got a unanimous 25 basis point cut. That was virtually 100% expected and priced in by the market. They mentioned a strong economy that grew at a 2.8% annual rate in the third quarter. And then the Fed just continues to focus and harp on the dual mandate, which is, as many of us know, the 2% inflation and a strong labor market.
And some of this is probably a relief rally, right? I mean, you had all these people, there were a lot of forecasters thinking that the results of the election might remain uncertain for a period of time, kind of regardless of the result. The fact that there was a quick and clear result is important for the economy going forward. And certainly you saw real strength on the stock market over the last couple of days, which helped influence bonds this week. Any interesting things on the technical side? I saw that Lipper continues to show strength in terms of retail investor interest in mutual funds.
Yeah, believe it or not, we have 19 weeks in a row of net inflows. This week, we saw Lipper report weekly muni bond inflows of 1.3 billion. When we look at year to date, that's about 37 or 38 billion in inflows.
And we'll show the slide we're showing on the screen right now is of the ICI numbers. They lag a week. They showed that inflows were slowing into the end of October. The Lipper data is a little more timely. That shows a rebound. We'll see if ICI lines up with that. But either way, still strong retail support for the muni bond market. Over into the new issue market, as we discussed, the calendar this week, very light, issuers choosing not to bring transactions, concerned about volatility. There was a decent slate of BAM insured deals in the end. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, so we saw 2.7 billion of supply, as expected. As you mentioned, a lot of volatility this week. People may not want to come to the market with that much volatility and uncertainty. But BAM, we had a great week. The competitive space was still pretty active. We insured 17 transactions for 110 million of par, and that was mainly driven by that Texas mud space and an area we're very familiar with, and so we were very active there.
11 of the 17 transactions from the state of Texas. People want to take a look at the Muni Creditcast, BAM's podcast. We talked about that with Greg Pacifico from our Austin office a couple of months ago, talking about how this seasonality in the Texas mud market from roughly September into the end of November, really high volume on all of those muds, and so definitely seeing that. Looking ahead to next week, the calendar I'm hearing is rebounding somewhat. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, so we're seeing 6 billion of supply. That's still below kind of our average, but we're building up. As underwriters, bankers, FAs, kind of digest this new market environment that we're in. For BAM, we're seeing some steady activity. We're expecting a $92 million Jacksonville State University in Alabama to price, and that's with Stiefel. And then there's a $54 million city of Manhattan, Kansas, expected to price with Piper.
And I think another Piper transaction, Northern Illinois University, may come next week or the following week. Alex Weissman from BAM's higher education team is working on a Credit Insights video on that. So viewers should stay tuned to BAM's social media channels and our YouTube page. That'll be coming soon. It's an interesting transaction that carries the BAM Green Star designation as a green bond. It's financing energy efficiency improvements. So a pretty interesting story coming soon to the BAM social media channels. David, thanks for your time this week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mike.